Morning. How are we going, guys? Let me just see if the camera's facing the right angle. There we are. A bit more in the middle, yeah? How are we going? Morning. Welcome to my humble kitchen in southwest UK. Weston-super-Mare is the name of the town. I live near Bristol, and we are defending Elvis Presley. Fans want the truth. So I've still got a bit of a cold, but I'm definitely getting better. We've got a lovely coffee. You know I have butter in my coffee. You know that I'm carnivore diet. I'm keto diet. Keeps me healthy, keeps me slim. That's why I do the carnivore and keto diet. So let me just tell everyone that we've gone live. We're live. Let's have a look. Let me just go on to the Defending Elvis. So don't forget, we have a Defending Elvis Presley Facebook page that you guys can join and get on the 24-hour chat as well. So I'm going to go on to that. So I'll just show you it. This is what it's called. Defending Elvis Presley. And I'm just going to tell you guys we're live. You can join it, guys. You can join our 24-hour live. And I'll just show you what the 24-hour live. Hi, Lorna. Right. Hi, Philomena, Colin, chilling in Canada. I'm sorry, I am running a bit late. That is a coffee. Come on. Look, guys, I've even got a tea ready. I'm ready. Now, don't forget, guys, if you ever want to buy me a coffee, click the Buy Me a Coffee button. I love it when you guys buy me a coffee. It's like a little thank you for me, for my hard work. And I want to just say who the new members are. There are. So I do every now and then just like to say who the members are. I do appreciate the members. It does matter to me. The newest member is Rebecca Smith. Now, is Rebecca on? You're probably going to join us. When you join us, thank you so much for becoming a member. Obviously, Michelle Arundel was a few days ago. Hi, Michelle. And then we've got Mrs. G, which is Ashley. I'm just going to read. I'm going to quickly rush through them. We have Nicola Cripper. We know who Nicola is. She met Elvis many times, I think a few times in 1972. She's a massive fan, isn't she? So I'm going to go through all of you. CKC Design, who sent me a link that I watched this morning with let me just get the link again. With Mindy Miller. Let's have a look. Let me just get it up so I got the right one. Let's see if it comes up. So Chris, CKC Design, thank you for sending me that link. And this is the video he sent me. Mindy Miller and Colin Paul. Not very clear. Thank you for sending me that. Now, Colin Paul is an Elvis singer as well as an entertainer. I think he does regular things with Mindy Miller. This was for Elvis Presley's 87th birthday batch. So they are in a dojo type museum. I think Elvis's dojo. And in that museum, they've even got Elvis's ambulance. I know this isn't for everyone, guys. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. So hang on, because actually, you know what? I think I will play a bit of it. Now, I just want to say, guys. Okay, we are here. Now, we love Mindy Miller. Okay, we're definitely big fans here of Mindy Miller. But I just want to say that in this museum, which seems great in the dojo, I think Colin Paul is great. Not everyone wants to see the ambulance that Elvis passed away in. It's very sad. Now, when I first heard about it, I'm not going to lie to you, I thought it was a bit odd having, the ambulance that picked Elvis up and took him to hospital. Now, probably many of you are going to think it's a bit odd, but the way that Mindy Miller describes it changed my mind a bit because it made me think, well, she's right. It's part of history. So I'm going to play that section. Because it is part of history, and it even shows, you know, where Elvis was laid when he was passed, when he had died in the ambulance. Now, I'm going to play it. If it offends any of you or upsets any of you, I'm really sorry. But I'm going to just play the clip. I am a big fan of Mindy Miller. Yeah, so let's just play that section just for a few minutes.
In the next room, and I want to.
Let's go back.
Hi, we have taken a short break here at the Tiger Man Dojo and Museum in Memphis, Tennessee. And I want to take you to a very special place right now. People that see this may have their own personal opinions about it, and that's fine. You should. But I think it's a very important part because it's history. It's an important part of Elvis's history, and it's something that no one has ever seen before, and it's here. So we're going to walk into the other room, and I'm going to share this experience with you. So let's go. Okay, we are here in the next room. And I want to let you know that this has not been refurbished. There has been nothing done to this vehicle. This is the state that it has been in since the day that Elvis passed away, which was August 16th, 1977. This is the actual ambulance that carried Elvis from his home at Graceland to Baptist Memorial Hospital on that fateful day. This is being shared at the museum because we all feel in some way that it's a very important part of his history, and there's no denying that. And that is what is so important. It may not resonate with everyone in a certain way that it may not resonate with another person. However, it's important because it's actual history, and all of Elvis's history is important, whether you may agree with it or not. So let me take you and show you this incredible vehicle and a little bit about its history. This is the Memphis Fire Department, and this is the ambulance, the actual ambulance that carried Elvis's body. We have been allowed to actually photograph the inside of it, which has really never before been shown. So come and walk with me down the length of this ambulance, and let me share with you the inside of that fateful day. This is the interior of the ambulance that actually carried Elvis's body to Baptist Memorial Hospital with my dear, dear friend, Joe Esposito, Dr. Nick, and I'm trying to think who else was in the vehicle with him. And I'm sorry, I'm not remembering right now, but there were 3 people in the vehicle taking him to Baptist Memorial. Now, this is where Elvis lay, right here. And his body was covered. At that time, they knew that he had passed away. And as much as they tried to save him, they couldn't. And the word shortly thereafter was that Elvis had died. And I know that there are a lot of people out there in the Elvis community, in the Elvis world, that don't want to believe that he has passed. But I can personally tell you that I was one of very humbled and very fortunate people that was invited to his funeral. I spent 3 days and 3 nights at Graceland and experienced a lot. I stood at Elvis's casket for 6 hours, and I never moved from his side. And I watched 75,000 people walk through the house. So those of you that don't want to believe or are not believers, I get that. I understand the pain of losing this man on a personal level and on a public level. And I will just say to you that his physical body may be gone, but his spirit will always be with us in our hearts and he will always be alive in our hearts and into the hearts of the world through his music, through his films, through his personality, through his great sense of humor, and for all the product that he left us with to enjoy him and love him, and for all the generations to come. So when somebody says to me, Elvis isn't dead, I said, you're right. And I agree with them. And then they kind of look at me because most people don't agree with them. And I say, you're right. He is alive. He will always be alive as long as he is remembered by the people that love him. And that will never stop. So I know this might be heartfelt for some people to see this, but it is part of his history. And it's only here at the Tiger Man Dojo Museum. And it's an incredible museum. And it's the only museum in Memphis, and actually anywhere in the world, that takes that part of Elvis's life, which he loved so much, which was karate and the study of it and the discipline of it. And you will be able to see so much here that is not shown anywhere else, having to do with his love of that sport. So I invite you all to come to this extraordinary museum. It's only about 2 miles away from Graceland, so it's very easy to get to. And the people that run it are absolutely wonderful, wonderful people. The event that I have done this evening has really opened my heart again. And there are people that love him and respect him and honor him. And that is exactly the way it should be. And his legacy should always be relegated as high as it could possibly be. So I thank you for listening, and I invite you all to come here, and you will have a wonderful, wonderful time.
Right, let me just pause it. I'm gonna let Colin do his thing that he's great at. Now, Colin Paul is an entertainer, an Elvis entertainer. He's proud that he doesn't need to wear a jumpsuit when he entertains. He just sings from the heart. And the one thing I've noticed about Colin is he loves Elvis. He truly sings from here, deep inside. You can see that. And I've watched quite a lot of Colin's stuff. And they have a great friendship, Mindy Miller and Colin. And I'll just say this, guys, it is a bit creepy seeing the ambulance. I love the way that Mindy tries to put us at ease, just like she put Colin at ease, because it is unusual. It is odd having to see the ambulance that that took Elvis to the hospital. So I apologize if it bothered anyone, but I love Mindy, and Colin is so lucky to have met her as well. So let's have a listen. So let's give Colin a big shout, a big round of applause. Let's quickly see Mindy Miller.
Good. Smile though your heart is breaking. Give me a smile. Just smile.
There's Mindy there.
Is she born with her?
Yes.
Okay, I believe it. She scares me. Okay.
I'll tell you what, I'm not joking. Mindy Miller is a hot girl. I don't actually know how old she is. I'm 57, yeah? Colin, can I ask you, how old is Mindy? That was 2 years ago, I think. She's a hot girl. If I saw Mindy out, she would turn my head. Yeah, of course, I'm married and faithful, but she's hot. Colin, is Mindy Miller hot in real life? She's stunning. Stunning. She has kept herself beautiful. I don't know how old she is, but she must be late 60s, I would say. I don't know. And do you know what? Love her personality. I love the way she puts the fans at ease, makes us feel comfortable. Wow, Colin, wow. She's the hottest 74-year-old I've ever known. I can honestly say that. I just love the way she is. Just she sat there. I don't think there's loads of you there actually. at that performance, but she just sits with everyone like one of the girls, one of the boys. She's very easy talking to. It doesn't matter who it is, male or female. She's just there, like mixing in, mingling. Love her, and I completely see how you, Colin and Mindy, I can see the chemistry where they just get on well. It just works, doesn't it, Colin? Do you agree with that? You two doing things together, like different shows. Her telling her stories, her life, the time she knew Elvis, I think around 75. You doing shows, and obviously with Elvis fans, it just works. It just worked. Yeah, gracious to everyone. I love it. So, whilst Colin's here, I did want to just say that Colin helped introduce me to Todd Slaughter. Todd Slaughter is, to me, the original Elvis Presley defender, way back late 60s, early 70s. He's been on TV many times defending Elvis. He's been to Graceland many times. He's took tours, the original tours in Graceland, with the help of Colonel Tom Parker and Vernon. He even met Elvis, known as one of the last people to be filmed with Elvis just before he passed away. God rest his soul. Only a few weeks before he passed. So Todd Slaughter, Colin helped Todd Slaughter help me introduce myself to Todd, and me and Todd have been exchanging emails. And I love Todd Slaughter, and I just want to say to you guys that look him up, Todd Slaughter. Look up the different interviews that he's done over the decades. He's still on YouTube now. He's still going strong in his 80s, or maybe he's just turned 80. Very, very interesting man. His stories are super interesting, fascinating. He was very good friends with Colonel Tom Parker as well. I just think he's had such an interesting life. And I just love the fact that whenever you look at different interviews with Todd Slaughter, sometimes with Colin Paul, brilliant. Look them up, guys. Colin Paul and Todd Slaughter interviews, they're excellent. You will see, I think that Todd Slaughter has seen a side as a fan, because ultimately he is a fan. Yeah, he brought the original British fans over to America to do a tour of Graceland before Priscilla Presley even thought about it, even though it wasn't her idea. So it was Memphis City, and Vernon and Colonel Tom Parker and Todd all had this idea of doing these tours in Graceland, the home, Elvis's home. They are the originators of this, not Priscilla. It wasn't Priscilla that thought up the museum idea, the living museum. So I just want to say that Todd has written some great books. This is one of them. It's a very, very interesting book. It's an absolute bargain. I think all he charged is on Amazon. I think he charged £10 plus postage, and he even signs it. So you get a signed book. Let me just show you a signed autograph from Todd Slaughter. Yeah, and he had a very interesting life. He met many, many celebrities, including the Beatles, and I just highly recommend this book. Don't forget, he was very good friends of Colonel Tom Parker. And this is the other book. Great books, guys. I highly recommend you buy these. I also, please subscribe to Colin Paul's YouTube channel. He has a great YouTube channel, and I think Todd Slaughter also has a YouTube channel that's called, I think it's Todd Slaughter's Tales of the Unexpected. It could be Todd Slaughter's Elvis Tales of the Unexpected. So please, guys, show some support for Colin and for Todd Slaughter. And if Todd Slaughter ever watches this, I have massive respect for you. You are the original Elvis defender. So I am stood on the shoulders of a great man. Okay, right. So let me just read some of your comments. Today is going to be a little bit different. You guys have been talking about Scientology. You've been talking about Michael Jackson. I'll be honest with you, they're not two of the topics that I like. I don't like talking about Scientology. It just grates on me. I'm completely against it. I'm horrified that Lisa Marie was chucked into Scientology at such a young age by Priscilla. It concerns me. It concerns all the fans. All the fans have strong views about Priscilla and Scientology. So I think we're going to discuss it. Now, I will say this. Is it possible to have a discussion about Scientology when I know nothing about it? So I know nothing about Scientology. I know nothing about Lisa Marie and Scientology. I know nothing about Priscilla and Scientology. It's not something, yeah, Colin, I've always thought it weird, a cult. I don't like it. We know, obviously, Tom Cruise. And from what we know, John Travolta is massive in Scientology. And from what I've heard, he introduced Lisa Marie into Scientology. The thing I read was that she had a crush, a teenage crush on John Travolta. She went to see him on set for, what was it called? Welcome Home, Kotter. I think this is just before Grease, just before Saturday Night Fever. By the way, I love Grease. I love Saturday Night Fever. I'm actually a massive fan of John Travolta in the 70s. Yeah. He had a big influence on my life. Saturday Night Fever, to me, is one of my all-time favorite films. I watch it over and over again. And even the remake with Sylvester Stallone was the producer, I think. Staying Alive, brilliant film. But Saturday Night Fever, guys, you ain't getting better than that. That's as good as a film gets. I would say almost my total favorite film of all time. I don't know how many of you like Saturday Night Fever, but John Travolta at his best, and everyone in that film are amazing. Everyone. I love that film. I will watch it again and again. So, unfortunately, in my opinion, John Travolta getting into Scientology changed him. Now, I don't dislike him. I think he's a good guy, but his involvement in Scientology concerns me. The fact that he was involved in introducing Lisa Marie to Scientology, I don't like it. I think he even was involved in negotiations with Priscilla when Lisa Marie passed away, God rest her soul. I think John Travolta stepped in and tried to do the negotiating on behalf of the Scientology people. So I don't like that. Yeah, I personally think, just on the little snippets of information I've been getting, that Lisa Marie was took advantage of in Scientology. I'm horrified that because Lisa Marie was a handful, yeah, she was a rebellious kid, got involved with drugs and drink quite young, that Priscilla's answer was to chuck her into Scientology at such a young age. I think before she was a teenager, 11 or 12. Deal with her. This is what you guys are telling me, that Priscilla had said, deal with her. And I know that Lisa Marie went through long stages in her life where she was happy with Scientology. I just call it brainwashing. That's my opinion. I think she was brainwashed. But I also understand that Lisa Marie, she woke up and knew that Scientology was a bad thing and really tried her best to distance herself from Scientology. And I think many things happened with Scientology that Lisa Marie was very unhappy with. So what I've done, I've just got some video clips. I'm going to try and understand Scientology. I'm going to try and learn with you guys. So the first thing I did was I just put in, let's just get it up. I just put in something saying, what is Scientology? I want to know, what is Scientology? How many of you guys know about Scientology? Now, part of the reason we're bringing up Scientology is because Ashley, hi Ashley, was talking about it with you guys on the 24-hour chat on Facebook. The Facebook page is called Defending Elvis Presley. And it made me think, I can't keep avoiding the topic. I know Diana is very interested in us talking about Scientology because she's brought it up before. So I thought I just can't just keep acting like it didn't happen. So I think we're going to have to cover it, guys. Let me just quickly check your comments. Yes, so Ashley shared a video about it to another member. We were just chatting. Yeah, that wasn't that with Amy. You can do these side chats on Facebook. Hi, Emily. You okay? Let me just say hello to everyone. Teresa and Linda and Colin and Pat. Obviously, Ashley and Jean, Gio, Colin. Let's make sure I've got everyone in. We've got Bong James. Is that a new one? Bong James, are you new? Let us know where you're from. Are you an Elvis fan? Helen? Linda? Now, I want to thank Luann. Luann, if you're there, Luann sent me a massive coffee in the middle of the night. Thank you so much, Luann. I love it when people buy me coffee. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. It just shows me that you like what I'm doing. And obviously, we have the newest member is, let me just quickly say the name. I appreciate any new members, guys. It's only $1, but I tell you what, it means everything to me. In that, let's have a look. We've got a couple of new members. Are we going to get an internet connection? Let's have a look. Let's just get it. Okay, let's get we're on the wrong internet. So can I ask you guys, do any of you know, tell me who the founders of Scientology are? Ashley, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who are the founders? I think I know who it is. Isn't there two people? Tell me their names. Let's learn about Scientology together. We've got the morning. We've got ourselves a nice tea. So let's learn together. There we are. Linda, it's L. Ron Hubbard. I agree, Pat. Is there another name as well? Are there other names who are now the bosses of Scientology? Let's just see if this video is here we're going to do this as we go, yeah? So we learn together as we go. Dave, there we are. They're the two names I was looking for. David Miscavige and L. Ron Hubbard. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, don't know anything about them. I've watched the odd bits here and there, and I was watching, there's a guy who has a brilliant YouTube channel who I think was trapped in Scientology and managed to break away and has his own channel. Let's just have a look, see if the name of his channel comes up. You guys tell me, what's this guy called that has a really good Scientology channel that defends people? It's not coming up on here. It might do in a second. Right, let me just... Let's have a look. Now, I'm not going to lie, it's quite interesting. Yeah, do you agree, guys? It is interesting. I'm just posting that we're live again, in case anyone doesn't know. Right, let's get it up. Let's get it up. Okay. Let's get to these videos. What it is, I actually, this morning, when I decided I was going to talk about this subject.
Still a Scientologist?
Yes, sir.
Now, the quality of this is poor. I'm going to play this, then we're going to ask the question, what is Scientology? So it's only short.
Still a Scientologist?
Yes, sir.
What attracted you to Scientology? Tom Cruise is a good friend, and I hear a lot about it.
Yeah, I think that what attracted me was I just knew that it was for me because it wasn't something that was going to make me believe in something, or it just had the answers that explained life, people, me, that made sense to me, that worked, that answered a lot of my questions.
Do you use it a lot? I mean, do you go to meetings?
There's no meetings, but I definitely use and refer to, the man was a genius. I don't know what to say other than that. You did? Wow.
Interviewed him.
Wow.
In the 60s, off a science fiction book he wrote.
Right.
A great interview, by the way.
Really?
On science fiction, it was great.
Is it print or
No,
TV?
on TV in Miami.
Wow.
Yeah, it's historic. They should have saved the tape.
You should have saved
Like Kinescope, because the Scientologists, I look up to him as he's the founder of the faith. Is it called a faith?
It's a religion. It was bona fide. It was acknowledged as a religion by the IRS.
Why do you think it's controversial?
I think that anything that's young and growing quickly is scary and controversial. And anything with religion is also a bit sketchy. You know what I mean? When you have that on it, organized, and there's all these different, things. But the bottom line is that what's in there, what he says is not something that you have to believe. You read it and you go out and you check it out and you see if it's not the truth, and it works exactly as he said. He figured out a lot, and that it makes sense, and therefore it answers a lot of questions. It brings a lot of sanity into my life.
What do you want to do?
So you see that, right? I'll be honest with you. I love Lisa Marie. I love her as much as I love Elvis. I defend her as much as I defend Elvis. We all do. We miss her. Her death was tragic, but she doesn't look right there, does she? Her eyes don't seem right. Now, the way she's being questioned by Larry King, I know it's a very old interview. She obviously in that supports Scientology and massively looks up to the founders. I would say this is just me, Louis at home in his kitchen, an Elvis fan, just my opinion, no expert, that I don't like to use the word brainwashed, but I'm going to. I think in that interview, she's a little bit, how can we kindly say it without being rude to Lisa Marie's memory? Because we love Lisa. She's being misled. Yeah. And I think that's why she answers those questions in the way that she does. She's quite supportive of Scientology. There's a very short clip here.
Marriage number 2, and we won't mention his name. You went into a depression. Marriage number 2, and we won't mention his name. You went into a depression. You went into a very hard time in your life where you've talked about the fact that you were physically frail and emotionally frail. Now, you're an open Scientologist. You've spoken about it. Did Scientology help you through that period?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they mopped me off the floor. Yeah, definitely.
So you see that? She clearly, and there's another interview, we're going to find that as well. She clearly feels that Scientology helped her when she went through a very bad patch. And I've heard this again and again in different interviews. Let me just quickly read. Jean said something. Lisa Marie's first husband, his parents call founders of Scientology. Lisa Marie's first husband, parents were co-founders of Scientology. Yes, so this is go on then, tell me more about what you're saying, Jean, because we're here to learn. Remember, I'm not missing your point. I want you to tell us. Tell me more about Lisa Marie's first husband and how his parents were co-founders of Scientology. I have read about this, by the way. So Colin, she was thrown in at a very vulnerable time of her life, and it was for them to manipulate her. So you're right, Louis. They are absolutely brainwashed. She woke up, and when you do, I guess it can make you go insane, realizing what happened to you. I just think it's very clear that she later in life wanted to distance herself from Scientology. I can Google that as well, when she actually left. Let's just see how things unfold. So it's Saturnin going in at 12 would have had a massive impact on a very young mind. I agree. So remember, we're learning as we go. So I'm a little bit uneasy at the moment because we're not there yet. Let's just keep playing some of these videos. Let's have a look at this one.
And looking back on that.
Right, now this one is to do with Michael Jackson as well. So I sort of tie them together a little bit, not because Michael Jackson had anything to do with Scientology, but I do think that Lisa Marie went through a very complicated time in her life, and you can see it on her face. You can see something doesn't feel right in her facial expressions, in her eyes. Now, let's just listen to this. Some of this, we might have to chop into it and talk about it. Right, let me just... let me just play this a minute. I might have to use... Right, let me just drink my tea a minute. Right.
Experience. What do you say to yourself now? Because we all have done things in our lives and you say, I don't know what I was thinking, or I didn't know what I was thinking, or that was a great lesson for me. I don't know. What do you say to yourself? Holy Mother of God. Okay, first of all, I heard he wanted to meet me when I was 18. I didn't want to because I thought he was a freak. Immediately, I didn't want to meet him. I thought he was a freak. So I was like, I don't want to meet him. And I ended up going, okay, I'll meet him. My first impression was that he went very much out of his way to disillusion me. So he sat me down and said, I know you think this and I think that. I know you. And he was completely normal.
Right, one second. I think my wife might be trying to ring me. Let me just quickly answer her and I'll come straight back. Right, just topping up my tea as well, guys. Give you a cup of tea. Okay, right. So my wife's trying to message me. We're at home, aren't we, guys? Let me just message her. Let her know because she can message me. Okay, right. I'm just going to give her a chance to call me again. So I will play a bit of a clip of that. So. Okay, right, okay. Let's find the video. Right, sorry, I'm just sidetracked here. So I asked you guys, do any of you know why Lisa Marie decided that she just wanted out of Scientology? Do any of you guys know? Because I don't know the actual reason. I know that there was financial. I think you guys have said to me that Scientology have a lot to do with you financially. You have to give them a lot of money. Some of you guys blame Scientology why Lisa Marie had run out of money. Now we know about the Barry Siegel and her manager had squandered and lost tens of millions of pounds in bad investments with American Idol. Was Scientology anything to do with that? Was this around 2015? We've also heard this thing where if all of the Presley bloodline disappear. No, that's the wrong word. passed away, that there's actually a possibility that a percentage of Gracelands, because we know that Gracelands is still owned by Riley Keough, even though the Living Museum is actually leased to Elvis Presley Enterprises, so Joe Weishanker, yeah? But if there was no Presley bloodline, I've heard, I don't know if this is true, 40% of it goes to Scientology. Is that true, guys? So let me just let me see if I can find that video, because right, let me just try and find it. Let's play another one. Come on, where are you? We are here. Right, let's go back to what we were playing.
And looking back on that experience, what do you
Let's
say
go.
to yourself?
Hopefully it works.
Seemingly all fine and
Right, so this is talking about a bit about Michael Jackson. Okay, guys?
raised in different situations, different upbringings. I think there's a connection on that front. You know,
Superstar.
yeah, this fishbowl life oddities, different circumstances thing. Still very vulnerable, I have to say. I'd been married and had a baby by the time I was 21 and hadn't really been out very much and didn't know a whole hell of a lot. He's not stupid. He didn't get where he was because he's stupid. It's unfortunate that not a lot of people know who he really is. When he wants to lock into you and he wants to intrigue you or capture you or, you know, whatever he wants to do with you, he can do it. When Michael wants to pull you into his life somehow, he's very good at it. And then at that point, it was sort of a relationship of like, I need to talk. And I was sort of like, wow, me? And he's already pulled me in by making me feel like I'm the one he talks to. Then you feel protective. Yeah. You know, it's a mechanism. So I kind of fell right into that. Didn't necessarily think it was going to go romantic, but it did. You know, seemingly all fine and real. I fell into this whole "you poor sweet misunderstood thing. I'm going to save you." You know, I fell into that. I fell in love with him. I did. I in love. Yes, I fell at the time, and he fell in love with me, and I fell in love with him, and it was very real. How did he ask you to marry him? We were in the library in front of the fire, and he pulled this giant 10-carat diamond out of his pocket and put it on my finger. I think he got on his knees as well and proposed. I felt like it was I should do that because it seemed more maybe that's what I should be doing instead of taking these dear souls and making them feel like they're nothing.
But he wasn't going to be bothered that you were a Presley.
Right.
Jackson.
Right. So in my mind at the time, I'm thinking I'll marry somebody who's even bigger or as big or whatever than I am, and then I can actually feel like a wife. I can be next to the man, and I can feel more comfortable that way. I wasn't seeking publicity myself. I was kind of looking to feel like I can support somebody else. Comparable. Somehow along the way, I decided that was a solution. I thought, okay, I'll get with somebody even bigger than.
Let me just pause it a minute. So I'm going to carry on playing that because I like that one. I know we'll jump in between Scientology and Michael Jackson, but I still think she's going for a crazy time, isn't she, Lisa Marie? I think, yeah. I say that with respect because I admire and love Lisa Marie. But how many of you think that it was a genuine relationship? How many of you think it was true love? Some of you say Michael Jackson just wanted her because she was a Presley and she wanted her to have his child because Michael Jackson had this dream about fathering Elvis Presley's child. Some people say it was genuine. They were in love. Some people, obviously, we have strong rumors about the paedophile rumors. Just let's face it. Yeah, we can't just ignore that and sweep it under the rug. It's there. And then we've got, was it a genuine marriage? Was it heartfelt or was it a massive mistake? Because I've also seen interviews with Lisa Marie, where she just clearly says it was just a big mistake. Don't know how it happened. I think I saw it on the Oprah interviews. She's almost embarrassed that it happened. Yeah. So, thanks, Colin. All the best to you. You take care, my friend. So, what do you guys think? I'm going to read these comments now while I play this.
Have those problems anymore. Were people questioning your relationship with him from start? I mean, your friends and your mom? Yeah, people weren't really into that one. I mean, they were trying to, say certain things about it, but I used to figure it out on my own. Because he was writing this sex abuse scandal and things. So what did people say to you? Mostly my mom was just like, look at the timing of this and don't be stupid. If she married the biggest star of her time, you were going to marry the biggest music star of your time. No, I don't think it was that premeditated. I knew she really didn't want me to do that, and I understand. At that time, I was still kind of in that mode. It was just her reaction to my even dating him. It was like, typical mother-daughter, like, oh, you don't like him? Good. He's going to be my husband. She called me and said there are, oh, Lisa, there's helicopters outside the house, and they're saying you married Michael Jackson. And I was just quiet. And she goes, you didn't. She goes, you didn't. Honestly, don't like attention on me. Loved being next to him and taking care of him. I was on such a high doing that. I'm not lying when I say that. He had something so intoxicating about him. And when he was on and when he was ready to share with you or give it to you and be himself and allow you to come in, I don't know if I've ever been that intoxicated by anything. And you did live together? Yeah. Well, let's just put it this way. If he was in town, he was at my house. I have to ask you this. Was it a consummated marriage? Oh, my God. Oh, I have to ask that question. And you all know damn well you want to know. I mean, it was a real marriage.
Pause that. I mean, I'm not going to lie, guys. It's very awkward. She's basically saying, did they have sex? And, I don't know. Do you ask that question? Was it? I think, growing up I love the Jackson 5. I loved Michael Jackson as a small child. He was stupidly talented. Like, probably the only other person that came anywhere close to Elvis in that, with so much talent in such a young age. Just, it was all there, bursting to come out. We love the Jackson 5 as well, didn't we? And obviously Michael Jackson's story is complex with his father and with his brothers and even sisters. But do we ask those kind of questions? Is that okay to ask if they had sex? I don't think it is. I don't like it. And I understand the fascination from the fans, from the Elvis fans and the Jackson fans. But I'm uncomfortable with it. And then she sort of almost feels obliged to give the answer, but looks embarrassed. Now, let's face it, guys. We all loved Michael Jackson through the 70s and the 80s when he became massive, peaking with the Thriller album. Then we've got the Bad album. We all grew up with Michael Jackson. And come on, guys. Once all the paedophile stuff started coming out, it was difficult to be a Michael Jackson fan, even though we'd all fallen in love with Michael Jackson, hadn't we? It's awkward, guys. It's awkward. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. Now, what are your opinions about it? I'm going to play this. You tell me your opinions about Michael Jackson. Do you, I'm interested to know, as Elvis fans and as Lisa Marie fans, how do you see it, guys? Let me just press play.
Husband and wife. It was a consummated marriage. Yep, it was. Okay, that's all. Sexual attraction? I told you, everything I said was the truth. What about the way he looks? I told you, see, now I'm not attracted to mediocrity or normalcy or things like that. I think certain things I'm weird. I don't know. I'm whacked. So these were like romantic nights? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't remember them very well, but yes. I mean, it was normal. I wasn't going to get married if it wasn't that. I even remember thinking, how is that going to happen? You know, I can't even imagine him like that, whatever. And then he quickly disillusioned me of that idea. I honestly can tell you that it was every sense a normal marriage, and everything was spoken. And, you know, in the middle of the night, if he needed to wake up and tell me and bounce something off me, and I loved taking care of him. It was the highest point of my life. One of the very highest points of my life was when things were going really well, and he and I were united together. And he and I had an understanding about some of the people and the things that could go around him. And he was with me on those things. And we were a unit. When you have that situation, then you have its drawbacks, which is, you know, entourage people. I didn't like the attention. It was it was a shitstorm. I mean, I couldn't go anywhere. He needed to do his thing. I would be there. Ooh. Uncomfortably, like the MTV thing, and I heard about it last minute. All I could think about was, you know, 10,000 people right in front of me, and holy, I literally made his hand blue. I was squeezing it so hard. I was already neurotic that I even had to walk on stage and not say anything in the first place. So I was like, I can't. Don't please. Do we have to do that? You know, it's not in my nature to do that sort of thing.
For that Diane Sawyer interview of you and Michael, was that weird?
Yeah, that was a little strange. It was very strange. I mean, I was a nervous wreck, so.
Did you regret doing that?
I did after, it was a little disturbing, startling. I was looking into the future, and I was thinking, I don't ever want to get into a custody battle with him. I don't want to do this. I don't want to go head-to-head with him. So I need to make sure that everything around is good. I've had children. I knew bringing children into certain circumstances, you have to make sure everything's safe and secured and okay. And I wanted to make sure that he and I were really, really united, because we were going to be up against so much.
I do think that there was an agenda there too, though, because I think he wanted children, and he wanted her children.
Ah, mother, what are you doing?
Let me just pause that.
He would tell.
So I mentioned that just now, that, you know, there's a possibility, and we know Priscilla thought it, that he only got with her because he wanted a Presley child, you know, the bloodline of Elvis. Priscilla clearly says that. I've watched quite a few Priscilla interviews, and it's obvious she was against the marriage, yeah, and she didn't really like Michael Jackson, didn't really get on with him, in my opinion, yeah. Now, I've watched some good interviews with Lisa Marie. It does seem like she did love him. She almost wanted to mother him and take care of him. I've also seen an interview where she says she wishes she was in more contact with him just before he died, and she thinks she could have made a difference. So it's very heartbreaking. I also think she saw a side to Michael Jackson that we will never see. Yeah, because he had a front, didn't he? And I will say this: some of the interviews, I think, were very. What's the word? You know, is it Michael Bashir? Those interviews, it's been proved that there was some wrongdoing in the making of those interviews. So many of the things that Michael Jackson said were twisted, weren't they? Now, I sit on the fence. I don't have a clear-cut opinion on, you know, the court cases, the accusers. I don't know. I know this, that for many decades, I loved Michael Jackson, still love the Jackson 5. It's a difficult one, guys, because when you grow up loving someone, you know, I thought he was great, magnificent. Then suddenly you feel let down, don't you? Now, someone mentioned the Beatles. Trust me, I am a massive Beatles fan. Massive Beatles. It's Elvis first, then it's the Beatles with me. Yeah, and it's very close. I am a very, very big fan of the Beatles. Always have been, from more or less the same age as Elvis. It was slightly after. I discovered Elvis around 4 or 5, and then the Beatles 6. Yeah. So the Beatles album that I discovered was the Sgt. Pepper's album. I found it by mistake. Loved it. Played it over and over again. So I'm a massive Beatles fan. So, you know, I see the Beatles as a band. You know, there's obviously John, Paul, George, Ringo. Where I'm on about single entertainers. So Elvis, Michael Jackson, as single, you know, men in their own right. They, in talent, they were similar. Obviously, Elvis, but you know, to me, he's up. Elvis is up here. Michael Jackson's down here. Yeah. So no, but that's what I'm trying to say. I still want to try and talk about Scientology a bit. So, can I just ask this question? Is the general gist that they should not have got married, or they should have got married? Can you tell in your comments? Do you think they should have got married? Yes or no? Just please answer that question. I'll just quickly check your comments. I can't believe it's been an hour already. I cannot believe it's been an hour. Right, so Sue says, I loved his music, but I did think their relationship was strange, but who am I to someone to say who can love? Right, so Linda, Oprah interview, and Lisa woke up crying all day and didn't know why they heard Michael Jackson had passed away. Yeah, no, she was in complete shock when she found out about it. I'm not surprised. I actually do think she loved him. I know she was supposed to testify on the guy in the 1970s show, but she never got a chance. He passed away. Sue, when she speaks about Michael in 2018, I can see she didn't realize how much she loved him until he passed. Yeah, I think I've seen that interview, Linda. Sue, I'm going to agree with you. It did seem very strange. I think the whole world was surprised and shocked by it. Come on. It was an odd mix. Do you remember the MTV video of that song? The song of them together, him singing, obviously, but she was looking stunning in that video. Is it We Are Not Alone? Is that the one? We Are Not Alone? I think it's that. She didn't have a chance. He was going to get someone else to have one. Yeah, and he used a surrogate mother, didn't he? For more than one child, for 2 children, wasn't it? Is that right? Guys, I'm not fully refreshed with my Michael Jackson. I don't know everything about Michael Jackson. I know hardly anything, to be honest with you. Right, okay. So let's play a bit more of it. I just think we're going through it, and then we're going to move back to Scientology, if that's okay. I'm not really sure if my wife's going to need me. We'll just see what she says when she gets home.
Tell me. He would come tell me. If you're not going to do it, Debbie said she'll do it. So we would get into it, arguments. What about him and drugs? I never saw it, but I suspect it. I don't know, though. Because there's been talk about painkillers all the way through. It's funny because I never saw it, so I can't answer. Did you suspect a drug problem? Honestly, I didn't really suspect and catch on. There was just an occasion, an incident where he had collapsed, and he was in the hospital. This is during the HBO. It was very confusing what was wrong, because every day there was a different report, and I couldn't tell what was happening. Dehydration, low blood pressure, exhaustion, a virus. So I couldn't really get a straight answer as to what was happening with him. At that point, I think I got from various indications, I believed that was going on then. How did it end? What happened? It just kind of went really sour really fast. It sort of just dwindled out of control, and it went to hell in a handbasket, basically. Yeah. There was a very profound point in the marriage when he had to make a decision. Was it the drugs and the sort of vampires, or me? And he pushed me away. Vampires, spiders, vampires, sycophants, sucking his blood. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you saw that all around him. Oh God, yes. Yeah. But you filed for divorce from Michael. Yes. And how did you tell him that was it? It was when he was, it was over the phone. I had enough. There was a lot of stuff going on then. It got really ugly at the end. It wasn't pretty. I left him to sort of stomp my foot into the ground and go. I was trying to take a stand and say, "Come with me, don't do this." Mm-hmm. And I was a stupid move because he didn't. Did he fight you're getting a divorce? No, I think he got on to, getting somebody else.
So it's like, keep going. I'm going to keep going with this because it's quite interesting. I actually find it quite fascinating, but it's almost like he had changed his mind and he actually wanted a divorce. I get the feeling he had started to lose interest in Lisa and was moving on with his life, and that she, I'm just guessing now, was reluctant to let go and actually was trying to keep things going, but it was more him pushing at the end, and they were starting to live separate lives. Does that sound right to you guys?
That's what he wanted. He seemed to get on that pretty quick. I don't know. I got out, and then 4 days later, I started having chronic panic attacks, and just my body just freaked out on me. And I was pretty much needed to be mopped up off the floor after that one. I was quiet for about a year, and I fell apart physically for a while. So I went through this whole series of just body falling apart. Stress. The gallbladder just went to zero function. I had to get it taken out. I had mono and Epstein-Barr. And that was like just fever that wouldn't go away, and really ill. God, so much. Because it took me a good 2 years to come out of that. And I mean, physically, mentally, I really had to, I went through a lot to remove myself out of that, because you sort of fall into a way of thinking and existing when you're in that bubble. Mm-hmm. And it took me a long time to detach myself. We, again, were going to get back together. We spent 4 more years after we divorced, really? Getting back together and breaking up, and talking about getting back together and breaking up. And at some point, I had to push it away because it was just not, I wasn't moving forward.
Now, I'll tell you what, that interests me. Did any of you know that they were sort of splitting up, and there was a 4-year period where they discussed getting back together? Did any of you know that? I honestly didn't know that they were seriously discussing getting back together.
Oh, you said you loved him. Do you think he loved you? Wow. God, it's hard for me to answer that question. I don't know the answer to that. Do you think that he loved you as much as he could? Yes. That, yes. As much as he was capable of loving somebody and all that. Yes. And for whatever reason in my life, I had to go through that. And I don't know why I had to go through that, but I did. And I got through it, and, But I have to say in retrospect that he honestly tried so hard and went through so much with me. And I know now, when I look back, that he's never done that with any other female or anyone. I really admire that he really gave it a good shot. I didn't appreciate it then, and I wish I did.
So that,
it sort of stigmatized me.
That does tell me, guys, that it was pretty genuine. Do you not think that? When I'm listening to her, she sounds heartbroken. She sounds like she really tried to make a go of things. Like, it wasn't one of these shotgun weddings that was a bit wham bam, let's get it done with and then regret. Now, with the Nicolas Cage, and I do like Nicolas Cage. I'm a Nicolas Cage fan. And I think, didn't they get married very quickly, then regret it, but then miss each other? Didn't they keep getting back together and splitting up, even with Nicolas Cage? Is this a pattern for Lisa, that she would go headfirst into relationships, then regret them, then miss them, then try and get back with them? Obviously, not just her, the partner as well. Is that a pattern? So I think I've heard that she always regretted splitting up from Danny Q. And wasn't it Michael Jackson after Danny Q? Danny Q seems to be like the friend that was always there. And we know that he was there at the end as well. And maybe have even tried to revive her. Is that correct? Let's keep listening.
Without my knowing about it. So I regret that.
Gotta ask you about Michael Jackson.
I'm not going to answer, though.
You're sick of being asked about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well,
No more discussion about him.
Okay. Nicolas Cage.
Because I'm always associated with that. Everything's about that. You were married to Michael Jackson. That's like the biggest, and it turned me into a freak.
As for Michael's current controversy fueled by the British documentary,
That was a train wreck, you know.
Lisa Marie says she never saw any inappropriate behavior.
If I had seen anything, believe me, his ass would have been hanging from a tree. So, I don't know. I never saw anything like that. Now, I don't know what's happening lately with him. I really don't. I hope he clears it up.
I want to comment on that. If there was any truth from it, his ass would be hanging from a tree. I love the way Lisa Marie talks. She's got the best way of talking, and she always comes out with things like that. It really endears me to her. My kind of girl, the way she talks. But she obviously didn't believe a word of it. Obviously the paedophile stuff, and that she was hoping that it would just all go away and all clear up. So I think at the time of that interview, at least, she 100% didn't believe there was any truth to the paedophile stuff. Let's keep going.
Conversation was in 2005. It was a very long conversation. Please keep your head together, please. If this goes to trial, please hold it together. And he said, what are you talking about? What do you mean? And he said, you mean drugs? I said, yes. Because all I saw, there was a few-year period there where random things were coming out, whether it was a Martin Bashir interview or various interviews. And in those interviews, I saw him intoxicated. I didn't see Michael that I knew in that Martin Bashir interview. He was high as a kite from what I saw. And from what I knew. Really? He was either too speedy or he was sedated. It wasn't the Michael that I knew. And he asked if I still loved him. And we went into a whole thing about that, and I told him I was indifferent, and he didn't like that word. And he cried. And then the final part of the conversation was him telling me that he felt that someone was going to try and kill him to get a hold of his catalog and his estate.
Lisa Marie says she and the Jackson family spent years trying to save Michael from self-destructive behavior. She claims it left her emotionally and spiritually exhausted, but she writes, as I sit here overwhelmed with sadness, reflection, and confusion at what was my biggest failure to date, watching on the news almost play-by-play the exact scenario I saw happen on August 16th, 1977, happening again right now with Michael. A sight I never wanted to see again. Just as he predicted, I am truly gutted.
Lisa Marie Presley coming out.
So, unfortunately, guys, there is comparisons, isn't there, between Elvis's direct death, because obviously medication, prescribed medication, painkillers, sedatives, opioids, it did play a large factor in Elvis's passing. I don't think Michael Jackson was chronically unwell and sick in the way that Elvis was. Elvis was genuinely really a sick man. He had many problems. We've heard about the alpha-1 gene, but not just that. He really was unwell, Elvis. And I think Elvis couldn't believe the different medical problems he was having in his late 30s, early 40s. And he tried to combat it with extra medication. Elvis did feel that the medication would help him, soothe him, ease his pain, fix him. When Michael Jackson, I think it was different. Isn't there something to do with when his hair caught on fire, the kind of pain that he was in, recovering with his scalp being burnt? Wasn't that the beginning of him getting hooked on painkillers? I don't know, guys. I'm no expert, but it does seem to me like with Michael Jackson, it was different, because I do think Michael Jackson, I'm no expert, was hooked on the painkillers and the way the painkillers made him feel. So I don't think Michael Jackson was chronically sick like Elvis. But if he was, guys, you tell me. Put it in the comments. Let's keep listening.
Giving some statements she put up on her MySpace page. And I thought this was interesting because many people had speculated for years that their marriage was a sham.
Yeah, this is a very interesting look inside Michael Jackson. He looked at Lisa Marie Presley at one point and said, and I quote, "I'm afraid that I'm going to end up like him."
Michael was always asking you about your father. Yes. And he said, I feel like I'm going to end up the same way.
And did you say why?
Yeah. I was like, what are you talking about? And I don't understand. Down to the play-by-play incident was identical. The one thing that correlates with Michael and with my father on this subject is that They had the luxury of creating whatever reality around them they wanted to create. They could have the kinds of people who were going to go with their program or not go with their program. And if they weren't, then they could be disposed of. Mm-hmm. It's the reality of being a god in your own world. Right. Yeah. When it's this unusual reality and an ivory tower and this godlike life mixed with an addiction, that's when you get into trouble.
Wow. I tell you what, guys, that was a brilliant video clip. I think it's about 16 minutes long. And it really does highlight some very interesting, thought-provoking, fascinating clips all the way through that. I stumbled on that by mistake. So, wow. So, she says these two, the most famous men on the planet, let's face it, both of them were, and they could create their own reality, but they also had a problem with health issues, with addiction, with medication problems, and they surrounded themselves with people that allowed the lifestyle their way. It's funny how she compares them. I find that so interesting. And she really did get with a man that was, from the point of view of fame, probably Michael Jackson is probably the only person that I can think of, except for the Beatles, that understood how it felt to be that famous, to be literally, you can't even step 1 foot out your door without being mobbed. Michael Jackson had that, didn't he? He was as close as you get to Elvis as a phenomenon, yeah? And as a person, she got with the most famous living man on the planet, didn't she? Didn't she? And I know that most of us couldn't believe it. I honestly, when I heard about it, I was like, oh, that's a bit odd. And I was a Michael Jackson fan, yeah? And I remember thinking, that's a bit odd. Michael Jackson, Lisa Marie. It always felt odd to me. I'm not trying to sound negative towards Lisa. I'm just saying it took a while for me to take it in and understand it and get a feel for it. I don't think I ever thought it felt right, yeah? Even Nicolas Cage, and many of you have messaged me saying that Nicolas Cage was obsessed with Elvis. Now, I've seen Nicolas Cage interviews where he denies that he was not obsessed with Elvis, and that he loved Lisa Marie in her own right. And I've read some quite romantic details of Nicolas Cage talking about Lisa Marie, that he, deeply loved her, truly loved her, and they were always on and off. That he was very, very heartbroken when she passed away. So I'm not sure how genuine you guys feel about the relationship between Nicolas Cage and Lisa Marie. I know Nicolas Cage lived in Britain for a while, in Bath City, which is a very famous city in the UK. It's actually where my wife was born, in Bath City. She's from Bath City. We know that Lisa Marie also spent some time living in England. So very, very interesting, guys. Very interesting. Right. Let me try and find a couple of Scientology clips. And because I think we've covered the Michael Jackson enough for now. We're definitely going to come back to the Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie thing. I think it's too interesting. Right, let me just see. Now, I found this video. I'm not 100% what it's going to say, but it gives us just some idea about Lisa Marie and Scientology. Now, if anything is said in this that you're not comfortable with, I haven't watched all of it. So it may say a couple of things you don't like. I'm hoping it doesn't, but we'll just see. Let's just play it and go and see.
Divorce and a devastating criminal trial. Here's everything we know about Lisa Marie Presley's links to Scientology. Many celebrities are affiliated with the Church of Scientology, the controversial religion founded by science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard in 1954. Some of them were born into the religion, while others joined later in life. Lisa Marie Presley, the daughter of Elvis and Priscilla Presley, was once part of the religion too. Lisa Marie was born in 1968, almost a year after her parents married. Priscilla joined the Church of Scientology just after Elvis's death in 1977, and she raised her only daughter in the religion as well. Lisa Marie dabbled in drugs in her youth, and when she became too much to handle for her mother, she was brought to the Scientology Center. Lisa Marie became active in the church, and on the website, What is Scientology, she is quoted as saying, "Were it not for Scientology, I would either be completely insane or dead by now." They put me back together. Humpty Dumpty falls off the wall, and there they are with the glue. The singer was part of the church for a few decades, but in 2014, it was reported that she was no longer practicing. She reportedly said at the time, "I was slowly starting to self-destruct. They were taking my soul, my money, my everything." Unlike other ex-Scientology members, Lisa Marie didn't reveal much about her time in the church, but there have been some reports that offered a glimpse of her connection to the religion. Lisa Marie Presley married musician Michael Lockwood in 2006, and 2 years later, they had twin daughters. The couple filed for divorce in 2016 after a decade together, followed by a long custody battle over their twin girls. The Blast acquired court documents related to the case in which Lockwood claimed that Presley manipulated their daughters into speaking about him in a bad light. He also alleged that Presley falsely accused him of sexually abusing the twins. Lockwood placed the blame on Scientology for Presley's alleged behavior. In the court documents, Lockwood said that Presley used a Scientology tactic called fair gaming, which is a way for members to target enemies of the church by harassing them or putting a blemish on their reputation. The church itself claims that the fair game policy was ended in 1968, as it was frequently misinterpreted by apostate Scientologists and other critics. Lockwood said that Presley used the fair game tactic in order to get full custody of their kids. In 2020, Lockwood expressed concern that Presley could relapse and turn to alcohol and drugs after her son from a previous marriage, Benjamin Keogh, died by suicide. Lockwood and Presley's divorce was officially finalized in 2021, nearly 4 years after their separation. That's not the end of the story, though. In 2022, that 70s show star and Scientologist Danny Masterson went on trial for 3 counts of rape against 3 women who were also Scientologists when the incidents took place. During the trial, it came to light that the Church of Scientology had asked Lisa Marie Presley to convince one of the victims not to report the incident to the authorities. Presley was once friends with one of Masterson's accusers, who said that she was raped in 2002 and 2003. According to Presley's own statement, she was contacted by the church in 2003 and asked to help appease her friend and persuade her not to tell authorities about Masterson. Apparently, the church wanted to deal with the incident on its own without anyone else getting involved. Presley reportedly did what was asked of her. It was also revealed that Presley sent a message to her friend in 2014 wherein she apologized for attempting to stop her from seeking justice and for not being a better friend. Masterson's defense team stated that Presley's statement was not relevant to the case, and in the end, the prosecution decided not to call Presley to the stand. In her interview with the district attorney, Presley said that she couldn't exactly remember whether the church explicitly asked her to smooth things over with her friend. Masterson's case ended in a mistrial in December 2022. Unfortunately, Lisa Marie Presley passed away on January 12, 2023 due to a cardiac arrest. She died just days after attending the Golden Globe Awards, where her father's biopic was nominated for 3 awards. If you or anyone you know has been a victim of sexual assault, help is available. Visit the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network website or contact RAIN's National Helpline at 1-800.
Okay, guys. Well, we get a bit of a feel. Let's have a look. A bit of a feel. Let's see. All right, just checking my messages. Okay, right. A bit of a feel of Scientology. I'm going to see if we can find anything else. But now, obviously, the Michael Lockwood relationship comes up. Many of you think that the way that she has treated, and that Michael Lockwood has treated her, is disgusting, very money grabbing, very much took advantage of her financially. Even now, isn't it still happening? He's demanding more money. I think eventually Riley had to agree to pay him a certain amount. I forget the details. I did read them out. Didn't he get, was it $187,000? I can't remember. I know that we did a live stream about it. He does seem to have always been on the take. And whilst Lisa Marie was still alive, he was grabbing for more money, more maintenance. Now, I was listening to Shauna's show a few months ago, and she was talking about Michael Lockwood, and she was basically saying, get a job. Many fans think that he just needs to get his own income and sort his own life out and he's, he thinks he's a rock star, but he's relying on the inheritance of Lisa Marie, the insurance policy. He wanted his amount from that policy. So you guys have got strong views about Michael Lockwood. I mean, they do seem like an odd couple. And I will say this, when I look at their pictures together, they don't seem suited, but what do I know? Yeah. I do think that she was in my opinion, I do think she was a cash cow for Michael Lockwood. Now, some of you have said, I wish that she had never met him. I think Teresa may have said it, and a couple of others. But we wouldn't have the twins, would we? This is the problem. We've got Finley and Harper, beautiful girls, 16 years old, who do look a bit like Elvis and Lisa Marie. And, they're the bloodline, aren't they? We honor the bloodline on behalf of Elvis, and now on behalf of Elvis and Lisa. So we have to really, how do we word it? As much as we dislike the effect that Michael Lockwood had on Lisa Marie and his money-grabbing ways, yeah? We love Finley and Harper. So it's a tough one, guys. Now, I just wanted to, if I've got time before my wife gets home, I wanted to ask the question, what is Scientology? I think I did find a short video that explained it. Right, here we are. Right. Let me just play it, and we'll just see if we learn anything from it. If this one's no good, we'll play another one, okay?
Scientology is probably the most successful new American religion of the last 100 years, and it has spread through every corner of the world. The 1950s were a time of enormous anxiety for Americans. We were talking about space travel and alien worlds. We were starting to get to know how the mind works for the very first time. All of these things fed into Hubbard's imagination as he began to create Scientology as a religious movement. Here are three things that Scientologists believe. Number one, that we are all eternal souls trapped within bodies, and that we've had multiple bodies over many, many lifetimes. Number two, in each of these lifetimes, we have gathered trauma, whether we're aware of it or not. And number three, the way to get rid of these traumas, to clear yourself of them, is through the process called auditing, a kind of technological exposure therapy. What is it that you have your attention on a lot? Through a series of courses and auditings, you become more and more aware of your true nature. You have more and more control over yourself and your world until you reach a kind of godlike status. People who are familiar with Scientology are mostly familiar with the scandals, the control that the leaders of Scientology have over the lives of many of its members. Scientology is at a crossroads in its history. If the church can learn to give up some of that control, in 100 years from now, it might be one of the great religions of the world.
I don't agree with that. I definitely don't agree with that. Sorry, but that was rubbish. Complete rubbish. Let's get another. What is Scientology? Let's have a look. I have no idea what it is. I'm interested to know a short version. Right, it says here, John Travolta explains Scientology.
Also got bedrooms, you've got a living room. You have bedrooms in the living room on a plane. This is the great thing, Brian, is when you have... Do you do the gliding? Have you ever done... It's a hub. Now that we've napped together, yeah, of course we all know about, and you for many years have talked about it, what have you got out of it, and how do you make...
Right, let's have a listen.
Why don't you come out and you two dance together, and then it will be official, okay? John, I'm just
interested in that bit of your work. I love seeing you on screen. I like the way you live your life from the sound of things. We've touched on your dancing in a roundabout way. Let me ask you a question here, and I'm not going to mock this because I know it's an important thing to you. I want to ask you about Scientology. Sure. Because you're one of the two most kind of famous practitioners, I don't know if that's the correct word, of Scientology. There's Tom Cruise, of course, who we all know about, and you for many years have talked about it. What have you got out of it, and how do you make, or what do you make of the scorn that many people pour upon Scientology? Because it seems to me that you come in for more flack than any other faith or belief system out there.
Well, I don't know about that as much anymore, but certainly, I've been involved 32 years in Scientology, and it's given me all the tools to survive in life that I need, and it helps so many people. And we're all over the world, and we go out of our way to help people, and whether it's natural disasters or personal help with their lives. And I've always found it an enormous help and tool for me to survive better. And right from the start, I always had a wherewithal because of their help to never self-destruct. I could always use the tools to better myself and become more able and more in communication with people and have more fun.
Now, one of the things that was in the news over here about Scientology was recently, of course, Tom Cruise and his lovely wife have had a baby. And it became newsworthy in the papers that apparently Scientologists believe that a birth should be silent if possible. Now, I know your wife is a Scientologist. Did you achieve that? Did you have silent births?
It's pretty simple stuff, really. All it is when pain, there's a lot of pain involved in a birth, or there can be for the baby and for the wife. And often verbiage is recorded and in the mind.
So a baby, maybe even if he doesn't understand what's going on, will hear the sound or get the impressions of the emotions.
Yes, yeah. And they can be anything from what the doctors are saying or the fears or the concerns of the people around. And it's just, even when a person has an accident or hurts themselves, it's just better to be quiet when they're
here's the thing I'm asking you, how do you manage that? Because when my wife had the baby, there were times when she was calling me some things which are, all right, maybe history has proved her correct, but...
well, noise is different than verbiage.
Okay,
so
just would be a bad thing.
Yeah, screams if you have to is fine, but it's the content of the meaning of a word that could have impingement later on in life, do you see? And that's what you don't want. But if you want to make noise, it's fine.
Okay, now, John, like me, has waged a constant struggle with his weight. Is this right, John, in recent years?
No.
Yeah, you get big and you get small again. You do,
Come on now.
You did. I read you on a special diet where you...
Big. I gained maybe 10, 15 pounds, and I lose 10 or 15 pounds. But
I don't mean you were grotesque and you needed a forklift truck to get in.
You got to be specific.
Okay, I mean you're a man who
likes to
occasionally...
eat. I would like to eat now because you've kept me here for 17 hours and I'm starved. Do you have anything to eat at all? Thank you.
Not all of them. They're for me as well. We didn't take it all. How many of those?
I prefer to pizza.
John, how many of those could you eat in one sitting, do you reckon?
One, because One. That's all.
What's wrong with you?
Well, if you had a pizza, I'd eat the whole pizza.
Well, I don't
feel
have
like
pizza.
Sweet. All right.
Have one. You have one.
No,
I have one.
I don't really want one. Now I got my hands dirty.
You don't want one now. I bought you donuts. You haven't eaten
because I haven't had dinner yet, and this is dessert.
Stop whining and eat a donut.
That is funny.
Let's relax. No, let's not talk for me. Let's just enjoy the moment.
No, bad for you. Sugar is bad. Does it make you want a donut, guys? Do you want a donut? On a funny note, I'm on carnivore diet. I'm on keto diet. I don't touch sugar unless it's fruit. I haven't had a donut for 16 months. I don't eat anything sugary, any bread, or pasta, or rice, or potato. Keto, carnivore, and it's made me lose weight and restore my health. But talking about Scientology, that clip, which might get deleted because it's probably copyrighted, I just found the whole thing weird. He basically said that you have to stay silent through the birth, or if you're in a car crash, it's better to stay silent if you're in pain. What did he call it? The burnt or the bin or so, I don't know. I just found the whole thing strange. I like John Travolta, and he comes across nice and friendly there. And Jonathan Ross, the British interviewer, is funny. He's a funny guy, but nothing John Travolta said then made me think, oh, Scientology is okay. It just made me think it was completely weird. John Travolta is trying to make Scientology sound okay, but it doesn't sound okay. It doesn't. It sounds scary. It sounds like a form of brainwashing, a cult. I'm completely against it, guys. Completely against it. It just doesn't sit right with me. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to play one more Scientology clip. And I think, and then we're out of here, guys. So let's have a look. Let's listen to this.
But you have an open experience. Across from the university. So that's a hype. She might have some other issues. These conversations above this little. They still do that, or have they kind of backed off from that?
No, not that one. Let's have a look. Let's just play one more with Lisa Marie in it. So we've had a fun morning, guys. Let's see what comes up. I don't know what's going to come up. We're just. I want the clip not to be too long. Let's have a look. Let's see if we can get Lisa talking. That's what I want. Also, what's this?
She basically threw me out in the middle of the night. Yeah, one night I got out. She drove me to the church one night and sort of dumped me off to them. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning and I was in hysterics.
This was when she was 17, when Lisa was 17. Lisa talks about Priscilla kicking her out of the house, and she stayed at the Scientology Center for 8 months. Now, when I first heard that, I'm like, oh, Priscilla, come on. But in her defense, playing devil's advocate, it's not easy to raise a kid by yourself, especially if that kid is rebellious. They said that Lisa was on cocaine and alcohol, and Priscilla was having a hard time keeping her disciplined and her life together, really. Lisa says that she had no direction, she felt like she had no purpose, and she was just got caught up in some bad things.
And I wasn't quite prepared for it. She did dabble in drugs. I was a lost soul for a while. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no purpose in my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. And, finding myself. Bring home a new guy.
Lisa says she was drunk.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That was Elvis is the Man, a bit of a clip of him talking, and he's obviously tied some other footage together. So I didn't actually mean to play Elvis is the Man's clip there. That was by accident. But you get the idea, guys. You get the idea. So I think I'm going to go off now. I'm going to do some exercise, have some breakfast. I don't eat until 1 o'clock. So to me, breakfast is another cup of coffee. Now, just overall, we've had a bit of a chat about Michael Jackson, Lisa Marie, and their ill-fated marriage. It's a tough one to talk about because I did like Michael Jackson. Obviously, I love Lisa Marie at the bottom of my heart, and we miss her dearly. Now, I really do wish that, how can I say it? I really do wish that Lisa Marie never got involved with Scientology, yeah? And we do have to blame Priscilla. Now, did Priscilla know that when she got introduced to John Travolta at that time on the set of Welcome Home, Kotter, is that it, in the 70s, that he would introduce her to Scientology? Is that the truth? Is that what happened? Now, Priscilla Presley Lisa Marie, she had a tough life. Obviously after the death of her lovely father, Elvis Presley, everything must have felt daunting. Lisa Marie must have felt like all eyes were on her. so much pressure. So no surprise that she got involved with drugs and alcohol, which I think affected the whole of her life. I watched an interview the other day where just before she released her first album, she didn't feel she could go on stage and sing unless she had a six-pack, a six-pack of lager. Now that concerns me, that she felt she needed the alcohol that much. So I do think, and I say this with respect, I do think that Lisa Marie relied on a certain amount of alcohol, maybe some form of drug, and I say that respectively. Tell me if I'm wrong, guys. And I just think poor Lisa Marie, she had a struggle, didn't she? She had an uphill struggle. I know she had many happy times as well. We love her. We are endeared to her. Whenever we watch her being interviewed, we love the way she is, the way she talks, her body language, the way she acts. She really did connect with the Elvis fans really well, didn't she? This is why we miss her, why we always loved her, and we followed her life. Didn't we follow Lisa Marie's life as much as we followed Elvis's life? And we really felt the connection between Elvis and Lisa Marie. We could just sense it. We could feel her spirit, couldn't we? Yeah, just like we feel Elvis's spirit. Yeah. So I just think poor Lisa Marie, that she had to go through decades and decades of turmoil, really, with failed marriages. I know that Danny Q is one of our favorites, and there's beautiful footage and pictures of Danny Q with Riley when she was a tiny baby. That's the Lisa Marie we are fond of, that we remember fondly, that we know had happy times. And, I may even say that she made some mistakes with the guys, with the men that she chose to marry, to fall in love with. Michael Lockwood, very unpopular. I think the most popular one is clearly Danny, who was there for her right at the end. And I know he still has a very special closeness to Riley Q. We see the pictures, Daniela, real name is. We see the pictures. So even though we're talking about Scientology and Michael Jackson, all of it just breaks my heart. All of it breaks my heart that Elvis's daughter, that we adore, poor Lisa Marie, that was always a child to us, I think. Even as an adult, we saw Lisa as a child that needed looking after. Do you agree with that, guys? We saw Lisa Marie as a child, even at 20, at 30, at 40. We wanted to wrap our arms around her and care for her. That beautiful child that lost her father in such a shocking way, even walked in on him on that horrible day when he passed away. So, and then had to pick up the pieces. And we feel that Priscilla Presley didn't bring up Lisa in the right way and put herself first. We feel that Priscilla put her career, her boyfriend, her need for money, for spotlight, for fame, for making movies, for making TV series, for advertising, for her clothing salon, Bis and Bo. We feel that Priscilla, as fans, and I say this to Priscilla, we as fans feel that you let Lisa Marie down, that you didn't put her first. We feel that. And I think that's part of the reason that Priscilla gets so much hate, because we feel that she was a bad mother to Lisa. Don't we feel that, guys? And I'm not trying to be hateful. I'm just saying that's how we feel as fans. Yeah, that we feel that if Lisa Marie had been looked after properly after Elvis passed, things may have turned out different. Maybe even Benjamin wouldn't have died the way that he did. We feel Scientology damaged Benjamin, damaged Scientology, damaged Lisa Marie Presley, almost brainwashed her. Yeah? And if we could turn back the clock and get on a time machine and travel back to 1977, wouldn't it have been nice if Priscilla had met a decent man that was going to be a good father to Lisa Marie, give her a stable home, give her a loving upbringing, a loving, how can I say it, a loving education, because she didn't go to high school, did she? Like Priscilla Presley had the luxury of high school. Elvis made sure of that. So she finished her schooling career in America with the help of Elvis. Now, Lisa Marie didn't have that. Her education was in Scientology. So she had a very odd education. Not that, not that long after Elvis died, really. We know that she would have lived with Mike Stone for a few years, 3-4 years. Priscilla's new lover. I'll be honest with you, I find Mike Stone very arrogant, very odd. I find many of his views on life confusing and pretty dumb. Yeah? Now you think Mike Stone would have been her new father. Yeah? And the influence he had on her, it ain't right, guys. Now you look at his recent interviews and the way that he speaks about the universe and the law of attraction, and just all of it sounds pretty silly. Yeah? So what's her role model? A karate champion who has stolen someone else's wife, who was cheated on his own wife, Frances Stone, who was pregnant, who also had another child. It was his second marriage. This is Lisa Marie's role models. Yeah? And then after that, who was it? I don't actually know. Was it Richard Kardashian? No, Robert Kardashian. I actually don't know. But poor Lisa Marie. Don't forget, she's watched her mother, who is very ambitious, very career-minded, yeah? Wanted to make money, be involved in the entertainment world, open a clothing salon, wanted to, she put herself first. She wanted, Priscilla got bored and she would move on to the next lover, then the next lover, then the next lover. Who was the person being damaged the most? It was Lisa. Lisa was witness to Priscilla's life. It must have been very traumatic for her, very confusing and frustrating. It must have made her life very difficult. So eventually Lisa Marie finds herself in Scientology, at a very young age. Was it 12, 11, 12? Then she has to experience this very up and down, crazy world of Scientology. Who knows what she went through whilst in Scientology. So eventually she breaks out and she starts having, she breaks out and has her own life with different husbands along the way that we've all witnessed. I just think she really did have a difficult life. I think many happy times as well. I'm not going to say it was all bad for Lisa. And we have to say that Priscilla was massively responsible for many of the things that happened to Lisa Marie. We have to, yeah. But of course, Lisa Marie has to take some responsibility as well. But it was so confusing for her, so confusing. So I'm so sad for Lisa. It breaks my heart when I think about the mess of it all. It was just all a mess, wasn't it? And our beautiful Lisa Marie, Elvis's daughter that he adored. Such a difficult life, guys. Such a difficult life. So sad. So sad. So I'm a bit gutted, to be honest with you. So I'm going to go out with a song. I hope you've enjoyed this. Let's see if I can find. I'm going to go out with this. It's going to be quite sad. Again, like yesterday, I'm going to make you cry. But I just want to say thank you for joining me today. We've been on for nearly 2 hours. It's been a difficult one for me because I was learning as I went. So please subscribe. Please subscribe and like You can buy me a coffee if you want, guys. Hit the buy the coffee button if you like what I'm doing. And if you want to be a member, please click the member button. This is going to upset you. This is going to make you sad. But let's feel some soothing emotions and show our love for poor Lisa Marie Presley.
Children always first feel the pain and the hurt the worst is close to life. It just don't seem right. It just don't seem right. 'Cause every time I cry, I know it hurts my little children's soul. Would be the same tonight. Don't cry, Daddy. Daddy, please don't cry. I don't cry. Daddy, you still got me. You tell me together we'll find a brand new home. Daddy, Daddy, please laugh again. Daddy, ride us on your back again. Oh, Daddy, please don't cry.
Oh. Beautiful.
Oh, Daddy, please don't cry.
Bye, guys. Take care, guys. Loved it. Have a great day, everyone.